She said, "This is the situation. I'm stuck with COVID in a hotel room. I'm by myself for Shabbos. Is there any room in halacha and Jewish law for me to leave the TV on before Shabbos and me watch TV on Shabbos so I don't go out of my mind and I don't go crazy?" This is what she asks me. How did God create during the 6 days of the week? Speech. God said, "Let there be light." Speech is external. Speech is a means for communicating outside of yourself. On Shabbos, God continues to create, but he rests from speech. He creates with thought. What is the relationship with you and your thoughts versus you and your speech? You and your speech may seem like two separate things. Like, who said that, right? You and your thoughts are one. The Kabbalists explain this is a euphemism to really understand the relationship with the world and God during the week. It seems quite external. It seems as if it's two separate things. Whereas on Shabbos, it's on the level of thought. It's elevated. The world is elevated to the status of thought. We're inside of God rather than speech, as if we're external from God, which is why Shabbos is a holy day. It's not just an arbitrary, okay, I'm picking the last day of the week to be different. There's a reason why it's holy. There's a reason why it's different. There's a reason why it's separate. There's a reason why we refrain from so many activities. We're on a higher plane. And again, a soul-sensitive person is going to see Shabbos differently. It's not just another day that's arbitrarily, let's rest. He gets it. What's another euphemism we use for Shabbos? Marriage, intimacy. Because it's that oneness, it's that closeness. That's the lechadodi. God is the Shabbos is like the bride,
Queen.
the Shabbos queen. It's that joy, it's that love, it's that intimacy, it's that connection, because it's on the level of thought, which is oneness, rather than speech, separateness. By the way, that's on a microcosmic weekly level. On a macro level, the Messianic era is referred to as Yom Shekolo Shabbat, a day that is one large Shabbos. Because when Mashiach comes, God is going to be revealed in this world, like Isaiah says in his prophecies. The whole world will be full of the knowledge of God. The world will be elevated to the thought of God, like God's thoughts rather than speech. We're going to feel that similar connection to Shabbos. Right now, we're like in the weekday during exile. And our job is to usher in Shabbos. Our job is to get closer to the Messianic era. We're not just looking for a break from what we're doing now, or that too, but we're looking to get closer to what the ultimate purpose of creation actually is. I get a WhatsApp message from a young girl. She doesn't know me, and that's why she was asking me. Just to give you some background here, this is a young girl who is apparently grew up in a very quote unquote Orthodox traditional Jewish home. She was in Florida for the weekend, sick with COVID, quarantining, isolated by herself. And she's going to be by herself for an entire Shabbos. And she's nervous that she's going to be bored out of her mind. And she was very tempted to turn on the TV and just watch TV on Shabbos. Because she's bored and just, and again, the background she came from obviously would not support that. She was at a place in her life where she's, I guess, figuring out her identity, as an older adolescent, trying to figure out who she really wants to be and who she really is, and was struggling with this. And she was not in a position where she felt like she could ask her rabbis, I guess, or family. I guess she felt like she would have been judged. Somehow she got my number and she reached out to me. She said, "This is the situation. I'm stuck with COVID in a hotel room. I'm by myself for Shabbos. Is there any room in halacha and Jewish law for me to leave the TV on before Shabbos and me watch TV on Shabbos so I don't go out of my mind and I don't go crazy?" This is what she asks me. I don't know her. And I don't know the repercussion. I mean, just to give you the sense of responsibility of such a question. I'm not here to derail Judaism for the rest of her life. Because once something becomes okay, it becomes okay in your head. Not here to destroy somebody's life. I don't know how serious. I don't know. Does she have depression? Should it be? I don't know. I just don't know her. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? There's a lot of factors in that in a question. But here's what I told her. I had a suspicion, and apparently I was right, that her understanding of Shabbos was quite elementary, despite growing up in a very traditional community. Shabbos was very much about, let's just separate from the world. But why am I separating from the world? What am I connecting to? That part was totally absent. I said, I'd love for you tonight to open up a siddur and to read in English, in a language that you understand. Read the Lechadodi. Read the romance that we have with Shabbos, the love relationship we have with God. One day you're going to go down the chuppah. You're going to be under the wedding canopy. Please don't be tempted to be bored and pull out your phone under the chuppah. You're not going to do that. Otherwise, you're going to end it before it starts. God forbid. You're under the chuppah of God. You have a relationship with God, a deep, meaningful relationship with God. God's thought rather than speech, one with Him, in unity with Him. And He's giving you a chance to finally, after many, many years of growing up with Shabbos, to prove to yourself that you really know what Shabbos is and that you could experience Shabbos to the fullest. This is a chance to prove to yourself, not just that I can do it, but I can experience what it really is. A deep, meaningful, intimate relationship for 25 hours. I said, get yourself a good book. Get some inspiring reading material. Get a siddur. And make this Shabbos count. Prove it to yourself. Show yourself this is what it is. Because that's what Shabbos really is, that intimacy with God. And that's what our weekday is, getting ready for that. Getting ready. That's what exile is, getting ready for Mashiach. So it's hard to see this on a very natural, normal level without studying it, because that's just the product of exile. It's the product of our soul being so hidden. There was once a fellow going back several hundred years ago who was going through a very difficult time financially. His business was not taking off. And he suggested to his Rebbe, I need some sort of blessing. The Rebbe understood from the way he worded the question that the business was running on Shabbos, that the guy was feeling desperation. The Rebbe tells him, I'd like to make with you a partnership. I'd like to buy 15% of your business. Trust me, you'll do well. Okay. He sells 15% of the business. They meet, and the Rebbe says, okay, first order of business is we're closing on Shabbos. What? He says, well, I own 1/7 of your business, so you keep all the 6 days, and I'll deal with everything on Shabbos. Any profits that come in on Shabbos, I'll deal with, and we're closing that day. They ended up closing on Shabbos, and the guy's business succeeded. Because the Rebbe had the ability to see what Shabbos really is. That Shabbos is a deep, intimate, close relationship with Hashem. And that's reflecting what the Messianic era is going to be like. And there's no way that observing that can cause one to fail. This guy couldn't see it and wasn't at a place where he was ready to believe it. So the Rebbe had to show him.